This is Professor Michael Chapman. I'm one of the most experienced IVF doctors in Australia. I believe that an important part that I can contribute is to educate patients in relation to fertility, infertility, and all that involves. These series of podcasts help to educate you. I hope they are helpful to you. If you wish to know more, however, I'm more than happy to have you contact me via email, which is profmchapman@gmail.com, or make an appointment to see me on 9138 4222.
How does a woman prepare for IVF?
Mm-hmm. Your specialist has indicated that IVF is the way forward in terms of helping you get the baby that you so want. How do you get yourself in the best shape to do IVF? The truth is probably nothing that you can do in the short term, because your eggs that you're going to be used next month to create the pregnancy are already well down the track of formation, and whatever abnormalities they have, they've got. There's not very much that you can actually do in the very short term. However, there are factors we know play a role in reducing IVF success rates, and whatever you can do to help in that regard is obviously a good thing. You can't turn back your age, sadly, and that's the biggest determinant of your chances of success. Weight. Certainly women who have a BMI over 35, so you're going to be 100 kilos or more for a normally heighted woman, is related to a lower chance of success. So losing weight is of value. But all of us who've tried to lose weight know that it can't happen instantly. It's a longer-term proposition. I certainly have patients doing 2 or 3, if they've got time, say women in their early 30s, who are overweight. It probably is worth trying the current weight-losing medications, the injections, the weekly injections. I can't remember the name, Ozempic, whatever it is. They're worth doing, because you can lose 10 or 15 kilos in a 3-month time frame. I've certainly had patients in that situation, and if you're very overweight, it probably does help. Smoking definitely has a detrimental effect on egg quality, but again, smoking up to the day you start your IVF and then just not doing it during the cycle isn't enough. You've got to give it up for some weeks or months beforehand to make it actually overcome that problem. Diet. There are 1,000 diets on the internet, not Dr. Google, but Google anyway, saying that with this type of diet, you've got more chance of pregnancy. With that type of diet, you've got more chance of pregnancy. Evidence overall, very marginal. If any one diet that I've seen some good evidence about is called the Southern Mediterranean diet, which is obviously pasta, greens, fish, olive oil, a little bit of red wine. They're the sorts of things that are basic good diet, wherever you are in your life. Those sorts of are appropriate. But diet, I get asked that every week. If I eat less of this, should I have more of that? Should I have a more omega-3? Should I have more? Yeah, whatever. What you do need to do is to take a supplement which contains folic acid. That's nothing to do with IVF, because there are no scientific studies that any other supplement makes any difference to pregnancies. There's evidence in mice of a number of the vitamins and type compounds, CoQ10 is one, that improve egg quality in old rats or mice. It improves the litter number and reduces their abnormalities. But studies out of Canada, Europe, actually say CoQ10 in humans makes no difference to outcomes. But they do no harm, and they make somebody rich in the process. So I'm a bit sceptical about supplements, but other than folic acid is important for the baby going up in the first third of pregnancy, the first trimester, because it reduces the risks of spina bifida and anencephaly. There's no doubt about that. So folate is vital. In relation to all the other ones, if you have a good balanced diet, you can eat fish, you can eat meat, you eat vegetables, that's where all your vitamins are anyway. There's no need to take more. What else can you do to prepare? That really takes us on to the mental situation. IVF, and I refer you to another of my podcasts in relation to stress and IVF. The more stressed you are, there probably is a slight impact on pregnancy rates. It's pretty marginal. I see a lot of highly stressed people ending up with a pregnancy. But more importantly for each individual is to have a realistic view about the chances of success. You're about to go through something that is actually quite unsuccessful in each cycle. It's 2 or 3 more times more successful than nature can achieve in 1 month. So instead of 15%, we're moving up to 35 to 40%. But that still means that at 40%, 60% of you who go through an IVF cycle will be sitting in front of me in 2 weeks' time saying, my pregnancy test was negative. Why? The expectations that we create during an IVF cycle, unfortunately, always point towards positivity. You start your injections, you create multiple follicles, we collect multiple eggs, we get multiple fertilization. There's no way in the world I'm not going to be pregnant. But even when we get a beautiful embryo at day 5 and we put that back, 60% of those are not going to take. So that mental ride we go through, building up to an amazing expectation, and then suddenly having the negative pregnancy test after 10 days of am I not is really hard to take. And then it is something that all women and men supporting them go through in an IVF cycle. And that pain is really hard to take. How do you prepare yourself for that? I suppose number 1 is be realistic. Know that the odds are against you. On a more positive note, the odds turn into your favour over time. After 3 embryo transfers, if you're under 38, your chances of a pregnancy are getting up towards 80%. So there is accumulation of one transfer after another. We eventually find an embryo that is going to take. The expectation should be looking at the longer term rather than this particular month. The odds are still very much with you in the longer term. It's a bit like, as I said, I talked about all the time, it's a numbers game like rolling a dice. The more times you throw the dice, the more likely you're going to get the number you want. And that's the same with IVF. So preparation, psychologically, is tricky. All clinics have a counsellor to refer to if it's incredibly stressful for you. The nurses and the doctors are trained in relation to holding your hand through the whole process. And if the clinic's not providing that sort of support, you should look for a different clinic. We see as specialists in the field, one of the vital things we do in setting up an IVF service is providing that psychological support through the cycle, because it is incredibly hard. There's not a lot you can do, but getting rid of bad lifestyle habits, eating well, and preparing yourself mentally for what you're going to go through are the vital things.
And don't forget that you can access all the previous episodes by going to our website www.theivfjourney.com and select IVF Journey podcast from the navigation menu.